Listen, I don't know about you, but I started a business so I could do this. Travel, be with friends, be with family, create memories. I didn't do it to sit at the computer all day. I didn't do it so that I could just be in countless emails and Zoom meetings. I did it to create opportunities for myself and opportunities for others. So listen, if that's something that interests you, enjoying time with your friends, being out and about, definitely drop by Erica Williams' Classy Climb blog. Check out the YouTube channel. We've got over 2,000 videos of free information that's actually changed people's lives. People actually post their new jobs, their new careers, their new businesses all the time over at the channel. Well, hello, everybody. You should be able to hear me, see me. If you can't, let me know. This is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. This is the last video we're going to do on the Charlie Kirk situation. I know you guys are hoping for me to go on days and days of rants, but there's no need. There's no need, right? I've posted what I want to post. I've talked about what I want to talk about, and we'll go and finish this out here today. Okay. No, we don't need to watch hundreds of hours of Charlie's content to make a decision. How to brainwash yourself. The past couple days, I've been drop your state in chat while you're at it. And this isn't directed personally at anyone. This is me as a. Let me just give you again one more time my background before we get started. My name is Erica Williams. I'm a serial business owner. I've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars each year for a couple years till I got it to straightened out in taxes. I've served local city council here in North Carolina. I've served city council people in Texas. I've served on the Biden administration. I served Mitt Romney. Yes, I jumped fence halfway through. I served John Edwards' campaign in college. I served in many levels of government and service. I come from a family of people who've served in the military all the way back to the Civil War. Our family is a family who actually owned a plantation. We are direct descendants from an actual American Indian woman who, after being run off her plantation during the Civil War, married one of her slaves and had children. And hence my family's history with slavery, with ownership, land ownership. We still own some of that land to this day. Yes, we do. We have several people in our family who's been U.S. Marshals. They've been, you name it, we can pull it up. Okay. So I'm not some yokel who doesn't know where she's from. Where's my background, my identity, my place in America? That's not me. That's not me. So you can save all that rhetoric you guys can have on the internet for somebody who doesn't know themselves. Okay. So let's go secondly. Secondly, there's a thing called dog whistles and code words. Okay. And I'm just going to give one example and then we can continue on with the show. During the Obama years, I remember during a campaign, they were saying, I'm tired of them chucking spears at us. I'm tired of them using this voodoo rhetoric on us. Now, older white men from the South were like, that's enough. Even on the Republican side, they're like, hey, man, that's enough. You've said enough dog whistles. You said enough code words, right? You've done enough. Right? You've done enough that white people are offended now. That's enough. Right? There was a lot of code words calling him lazy, undereducated. Again, this is a man out of Ivy League education. This is a man who's been working in these communities. Right? He's never had a real job, even though he met Michelle Obama at his job. Right? Like, this is not me making this up, jumping to leaps and conclusions. This is other people being like, enough. Even John McCain got to a point where he's like, all right, hey, that's enough. That's enough. Right? And so if you are a person who is saying, Erica, I watched hundreds of hours of Charlie Kirk and he never said anything racist, that already lets me know your reading comprehension levels are in the dirt. Your understanding of code words, your understanding of dialect is in the dirt. It's in the dirt. It's in the dirt. And I really feel sorry for you and your family. Just being honest. There have been several African-American people, and I'm going to tell you, I want to show a bunch of clips, and I said, I can't do it. I can't do it. My stomach will be upset all day. I can't do it. Because you have to put a cap on stuff. I don't need to watch 100 hours of Charlie Kirk to tell you several comments were racist and racist echoes, racist spears. Again, there's a difference between a political opinion and a statement and an ideal. Political opinions are, hey, do you think taxes are too high? Yes or no? A political opinion, or do you think it's okay for us to have guns at schools and teachers to carry guns at schools? That's a political opinion. Another political opinion. Do you feel that maybe we should pull back the welfare state, which includes Medicaid, Medicare, and also Social Security? I don't know. These are political opinions. To come out here and say, black people are 300% more dangerous and violent than everybody in the world. You're like, what? What? That's not a political opinion. That's a statement. Again, as someone who grew up in colleges and went actually on a debate team, when you tell me this man is debate, this is not debates. He did not pull up to colleges and say, hey, listen, I'm going to pull 3 different professors on the stage, 1 that agrees with me and 2 who doesn't, right? And we're going to go back and forth for 2 or 3 hours with an audience watching. That's a debate. We're going to have clear rules of the conversation. We're going to have clear rules of what we can and cannot say and what we go over, right? That's a debate. To be a 31-year-old man and come on a college campus. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you, Ray Gunn, and thank you, Diamond Dave, aka David Williams, retail trader. To come on somebody's campus and you're 31 years old and somebody goes, hey, I'm 19. I believe in Biden. And you ask them why, and they can't furnish a full sentence. That's not a debate. I pray for y'all, because if you think that's a debate, America's worse than we've ever been. If someone comes up and goes, hey, I'm transgender and you're hurting my fifis, that's not a debate. Candace Owens did this same rhetoric stick a few years ago when she was pregnant. Ben Shapiro's been known for doing it, right? Patrick Bet-David, whether you like him or not, you think he's a slimy salesman, okay? He's up there going back and forth with 20 different people, and really, he's not even winning the debates with them. He's just giving them solutions. Hey, I'm mentally ill. I can't work. Would you like some therapy? I can pay for a therapist for a year for you. No, I don't want that. Right? If somebody comes up there, I haven't been able to find a job. I applied for 300 places. Well, I'm willing to give you a job. Well, what does your company do? Sir, you're not in a position. If you're telling me for 6, 7, 8 months, you're almost homeless, you haven't been able to work, you can't even drive for Uber and Lyft. Guess what? And someone offers you a job, you say yes. Again, this is where people are saying something's a debate, and it's not. It's not. Me asking a 6-year-old what color do they like to color with, and then they say blue, and I say that's wrong. That's not a debate. It's not. A 31-year-old man, shit, even Ben Shapiro, a well-accomplished, heavy educated man coming to you saying this, that's not a debate, y'all. That's not a political opinion to be like gang violence and single motherhood. Again, we have countless story after story of white Americans attacking, coming from 2-parent homes, wealthy 2-parent homes, all white neighborhoods, all white schools, even white colleges, and they're even attacking and shooting people. So we can't go with the rhetoric that it's the daddy. It's because their daddy's not there. That doesn't work. Even when the data has been updated that only 47% of Black children are at home with a single mother. That's it, 47%. They literally said the past 10 years, the number has completely gone down. Why? Y'all have literally made being a single mother, you might as well have a scurvy and stand outside and die. That's the rhetoric that's been going on since 1994. So usually when you meet a Black woman and she has 1 child, I'm telling you, this isn't just me. This is just anecdotal, Erica. No, I'm literally, you can look up the data. The average Black woman may have 1 child. There's a bulk of Black women that have no children. The rich auntie, rich uncle thing didn't come out of nowhere. It's data supporting it. Only 2 million Black kids are born a year. And 47, like there's Erica, 70% of the Black kids. No, that just means that mom's not married right then. Do you know how many military towns where the woman's married at the courthouse with the baby in the arms? Do you know how many data shows that people get married after the babies are born? Some of y'all from the 80s and 90s, y'all at your mom and dad's wedding. So again, the data has been updated. It's 47% of Black children are in a single parent home. Does that change the goofy talk that people are repeating? That's 10-year-old data. All them little Jeromes y'all was talking about, that 70%, they're already adults now. You're going off of old data. But it's convenient to make Black people sound bad. These are the same people. If I ask Charlie Kirk or anybody on staff, give me 10 things Black people have created, invented. right now on the drop. They freeze up. And most of you would too. You know why? Because you're buying into the brainwashing that everybody black is bad until they prove different. They've done studies to help people where they would send a black contractor to a house, a Mexican contractor, and a white contractor. The Mexican and the black guy would give low prices, be ready as soon as possible to help the person, and then they'd send the white guy. They're all mic'd up, cammed up. And the white guy would give a double the price. I can't start till 2 weeks later. I'm going to be busy. And he wasn't even as nice as the other two contractors. Excuse me. 9 times out of 10, the white person at the home went with the white guy. And the cameraman would be like, why? He's giving you a worse price. His attitude's worse. All this stuff is worse. What's going on? They could not say, because he's white. They couldn't say that. You know what they would say? Well, I feel safer with him. I just felt more comfortable with him. Those are called dog whistles, you guys. Why would she feel unsafe? Why would she feel uncomfortable when the people are doing work on the outside of the house? Again, we a lot of people keep trying to, dog whistle you into, well, most black people don't even watch Charlie Kirk, so they don't know what he's talking about. You know what? The average person is not watching the dribble that's online. The average person is not watching 100 hours of red pill content. Do you know how many times I would try to show my married friends, Kevin Samuels and the red pill stuff and Aaron Claire, and they would look at me like I was crazy person. They'd be like, Erica, why are you watching this? These are bitter men. These are loser men. These are losers. These are people who got divorced, picked the wrong person, and now it's everybody else's fault. So you have to really think in your head, the average person only needs to watch 7 hours of content to make a decision to purchase. I know by the time somebody watches 4 of my videos, they've made a decision. Hold on a second. Good Lord, I missed my mouth and everything. I had some hot Thai this for lunch. It was wearing me out. Okay. Now I'm here in North Carolina. I'm in the second largest military base in the whole United States. And they had Jim Crow laws on the books till 2 years ago. Literally, you couldn't buy a handgun until you went to the sheriff and said, look at me. I'm a good, happy, good black person. Me don't have no tickets. Me's a good person. And then they still could determine if they want to do it. If you are a military veteran and you came in and said, I'm in the military, I want to buy a handgun. We're going to think about it, son. We're going to see if we want to give it to you. Literally, it took so many white people suing and going up to the Supreme Court, suing to get old Jim Crow laws off that really never were for them. They were for black people because we had so many black and Indian Native American veterans coming out of the war, coming to North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Okay. And so what happened is so many white people were starting to be affected that they were like, this is wrong. We're going to sue. And they removed the Jim Crow books off the law. Now, they're still in effect in some other parts of North Carolina where there's high black population and high black veteran population. But if you tell these people this, well, there's no sundown towns, Erica. There's no this, there's not. Y'all, this is all data. This is all stuff we can prove. This is all his, like, literally courthouse data. Okay? Why do I not recommend you watching hundreds of hours of this stuff? Why do I recommend that? Because it does not do anything for you financially. It doesn't. The average person doesn't know there's 5,000 mortgage programs out there. The average person is going to tell you they got to put 20% down on a house. They're incorrect. The average person is going to tell you, everybody's got to go to college. That's incorrect. I talk about certifications. I'm even bringing Dr. Dix on later today to talk about the importance of why in the next 2-3 years, you're going to see a ton of people go to college and don't go to college for the wrong thing. Whenever there's a recession, people go to college, right? And we'll talk more on that. But the point of what I'm trying to say is the average person is underread, undereducated, and going off vibes. Again, we have a lot of people defending people because they like them, not because they're right, but because they like them. I've told y'all this in many occasions. There are business people who have been accused of rape, attacking women. There was a guy who is even guilty of raping a 15-year-old. And I know this video probably gonna get flagged by YouTube. And he now is defending himself on post after the post instead of going, hey, when I was 20, I did something wrong and I've turned my life around. So he posted all these Bible verses, all this Christian stuff. He's trying to do everything but distract people. People are like, see, he's a good person. He talks about the Lord. And I go, yeah, but he was arrested and convicted at 20 of assaulting a 15-year-old with a group of guys. We can't skip over that part. We can't, just because we don't like that information, it doesn't mean anything. But I've told y'all this. I've told y'all, if someone comes out here posting business quotes, Jesus quotes, most people, oh man, you see, he talks about the Lord. Look at him. Now, if I sit here and tell you, we got to get all these homeless people off the street, I don't care if we got to lock them up in jail. But you know, the Lord says, take care of the homeless. Y'all gonna be like, well, see, she cares because she talked about the Lord. This is where we are in our society and the conversation that people are having. Again, you're not having debates when you tell random 18 to 19-year-olds to come up to a stage and give a question to you. And then even if they start debating, well, you move the question. Y'all, that's not a debate. A debate is a stage. A debate has rules. A debate has, there's a point system. You know what I mean? If he had professors involved, it's a real actual debate. Ben Shapiro has been on college campuses and not even invited students, invited just professors to debate him multiple times. Hey, I'll pay you money to debate me. And usually they don't want to do it. Right? Because nobody wants to play the gotcha question game. All right. You got married holding your 1-month-old son 13 years ago. There you go. There you go. Okay. For sure. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? For sure. Need to spend 100 hours studying money. Y'all, listen, I'm not even trying to be funny. I went to debates have moderators. Exactly. It's just so silly. It's just the silliest mess I'm seeing online. And I got so much flack on Facebook, and you know, it's just like very funny. It's very funny. It's very comical. Why am I saying this? Because the average realtor and the average mortgage broker is wanting to give up because they're like, oh, we're not doing a lot of transactions. They're still doing millions of transactions a year in real estate. The key is 80% of your job, which have not been disclosed to you as a realtor and a broker, is educating the American public on there's 5,000 mortgage programs. This is the different programs that are available. You could be ready. You could want to do this. You could be financially in the right position. Oh, hey, I know 3 clients who make $60K a year. They all got approved for houses, right? This is where that goes. And the average person doesn't want to study and they don't want to educate. Right now, I went and got a couple certifications. Why did I go get them? Why did I go get licensed and bonded and a couple of things? Government contracts, city contracts, and overall just nonstop hundreds of people coming to me asking, did I know someone? Could I vouch for someone? Could I give them a list of people who could do this? And I said, you know what? We can do this. Our company can do this for various reasons. What people are trying to convince you is you need to watch hours and hours of somebody to brainwash yourself. And I'm telling you, please don't do it. Now, there's 3 books I've listed again in the section here, but I'm going to talk about some other stuff. The Success Equation book, it has a little bit of sports in there, so some of you guys might like that. The Quality of Earnings, I hope the link didn't smash together, but it might have. Quality of Earnings book. And then Geopolitical Alpha, an investment framework for prediction the future. Now, again, I'm not your source for stocks. Go check out David Williams, the retail trader. I'm not that girl. I've been in the world of deeds, politics, business for years. And I'm not talking about 2 years, 5 years since 2020. I'm talking about 15, 20 years. I'm not as young as I look, right? Black don't crack sometimes, not always. And I want you to understand is the average person, when I would go to CPAC, and again, this is somebody who you're like, well, Erica, you're not a conservative because you're a brown woman. Somebody's going to stumble on this video and go, you're a liberal. I want you to understand the boy who is supposedly accused of shooting, again, supposedly, allegedly, not really possible, but whatever, of shooting Charlie Kirk. His grandmother was so mad, she came out to the news crew and said, we're not liberals. Not the fact that her grandson has allegedly knocked somebody off. Not that her grandson is allegedly in a relationship with a transgender person, but the fact that they've accused the family of being liberals made the grandma go out the house and tell the people, we're not liberals. We're hardcore Republicans. She acting like it's blood versus Crips out here. You should never be this invested in politics that you think murder is okay. Murder's okay. Just don't call me a liberal. That's crazy. That's not debate. You can't have intellectual debate with that type of person. Now, if you say, Erica, what about Charlie's stance protecting kids from the transgender agenda? Cool. I'm all, yeah, that's right. We're all against giving children hormones before they're 18. We're all against that. No problem. What about he got married and said young men should get married and get a wife and seek the Lord? I'm all, baby. The movement from the red pill has moved over to that anyway. Because you know why? All these guys start realizing it's really lonely. You don't want to be that old guy in the club. So the movement had already moved that way years ago. It's only the diehard 56-year-old white dudes online talking about, yeah, bruh, just live in a house by yourself with some dogs and a fast car. Yeah. You're like, even the dudes that are telling you this have wives and girlfriends. I literally worked from the inside of that part of YouTube to help some people with their algorithm stuff many moons ago. And majority, 85% of those guys were married to a single mom, to a fat white woman or a fat black woman. They all look the same. Their wives all look generally the same. This was just a way to make money. And I don't think you guys are understanding when people are telling you from inside the house. Like a couple years ago, maybe a year or two ago, Brandon Tatum had a meltdown because he was upset. He went to an event and realized all these Republican people, there were some gay guys, there were people acting outside their biblical preachings. There were people doing all these things. And he was so disappointed. And why was he disappointed? Because he fell into a parasocial relationship with these people. What is parasocial? Please go look it up. Parasocial is when you're watching somebody online, so many hours of them, you feel like you know them. I will tell y'all, there were many, this is so many moons ago though. I used to watch Paula White. I used to watch Joel Osteen. This is in my 20s. This is so long ago. This is forever ago. And I was like donating, sending money. And then I said, you know what? Let me go to a Bible-based church because that's what they should be telling you. I'm in the Bible-based church. And they're like, no, that's prosperity gospel, Erica. This is that. And you start growing and educating yourself. I'm seeing grown adults online saying, because of Charlie Kirk, this is my first time as a grown adult in my 30s going to church. And then they're saying in their videos, they have never been to church as a kid. Maybe their parents went once or twice, Easter. That's not Charlie Kirk being a martyr. That's people's parents doing such a piss poor job that they lack any type of foundation, religious or other, that they're like, I'm 32. It's my first time going to a church, even though they drive by hundreds of churches on the streets. On their way to work, on their way home, they see churches. This is why you have so many people who are in their 20s and 30s and lost and saying, why are so many people married and having kids and making all this money? Because they're over here in this whole subculture. And again, I went to Kev on stage. He was hilarious. Church was full. He kept telling jokes that were inside church culture jokes. And a lot of people, ha, 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 laugh. There are some people I brought with me. They were like, I don't understand the joke. You weren't raised in the church. It's a culture, right? So when someone's saying, Erica, you haven't watched enough to make an informed decision on this guy, I don't need to watch 100 hours. I've lived long enough to see this rhetoric, this talk, these talking points be recycled from person to person, from creator to creator, from commentator to commentator. These are recycled talking points. So much so that when black men are saying it, like I've started seeing people say, yeah, these women ain't having babies past 35. And it'll be a black man. And I start laughing and going, the data you're reciting is for white women. The highest number of women 37 to 42 having babies ever in our history of our country are Black, Latino, and Asian women. So you're like, yeah, women's eggs run out at 35. You're talking about white women. So if you're a Black man, an Asian man, a Latino man repeating this talking point, you have been brainwashed. You haven't even fact checked the data for your own group, right? Again, I will show you on here. Let me see if I still have it up. Do I still have it up? I might have it. Yeah, here we go. Just so y'all don't think, oh, Extra just ratting it off from her mouth. She's just saying this stuff. No. I promise you. Once you actually do real life and live out in this world and actually interact in the political space, which I'll be there in March. I'm pretty sure there's some people I want to talk to. They probably will not talk to me now because of my opinions on the Charlie Kirk. And I'm okay with that. All right, so here's this one. Just to give you a way to kind of contrast. Dark Psychology and Manipulation, 2 books in one. The best techniques to brainwash, dark NLP, hypnotize, and control the mind. Learn the art of persuasion, body language, and how to manipulate anyone. Now, I will tell you, Hands down. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you right now, hands down. When you're in sales training, they use techniques from these type of books, right? They teach you in sales, if someone, are you the decision maker? Why do they say that? Because they don't want to waste time talking to somebody who can't make the final decision. But also, it's an ego trigger to a man. If you're a man trying to buy a car, trying to buy something that's a high price point, oh, are you the decision maker? Well, of course, a man, depending on who he is, depending on his age, is going to go, yeah, I'm the decision maker. And then you push the paper across to him and say, this is the price. Oh, well, I got to call my wife. Oh, bro, you said you were the decision maker. Go get your wife on the phone so we can talk to her. Get her on the phone right now. Now, what does that do for that person? I mean, I don't want to go too far into this rabbit hole because it ain't good. But I'll just say that's a part of dark psychology. What you're doing is making that person question who they are. And are they, because money in relationships is usually tied to power. The person who makes more money usually has more say. Not always, but usually. It makes them feel a certain type of way, and they are going to go with you. Now let's even flip it to Black people. Dark psychology on Black people comes in the form of, and again, I'll share this tab instead. If you just type in your browser, how to brainwash, you'll find all kind of lovely books. Okay. There's a common form of brainwashing that we all talk about very often online. What is it called, y'all? Take a guess of the word we use online. We talk about a very common form of brainwashing. A little bit of that essence, Southern strategy. Yeah. What's up, Doug? Thank you, Doug. Doug, the best moderator on YouTube. Thank you. I had to do this all with a friend, and she's still trying to say no. Like he felt about this about your daughter and your husband, but you discovered him 2 months ago. Yeah, there's several white people I know who have adopted Black kids, who have interracial marriages, who are like, oh my God, Charlie Kirk. I'm like, your Black spouse is cool with this? Okay, cool. I'm debating a baby. You're not even debating. It's not a debate. AKW Beats, I got married with a 1-year-old. I got married with a 1-year-old son 13 years ago. Yeah. But AKW Beats, someone's going to say on paper, your baby mama was a single mother when she had that baby. Not knowing we can go look back 2-3 years and realize only 47% of kids are in a single parent home. Majority of those Black men know, okay, let me go ahead and marry you and keep it pushing. You know what I mean? But may have not happened before. Everybody in my circle's married. Yeah, Mr. Charlie's been proven wrong. All right, let me go down here. See if y'all answered the question. I mean, I'm always going to come with the data. It ain't worth it to not. It's just critical thinking. I'm really serious, y'all. Like, we can literally, we can literally do several things. I got one, quality of earnings in the mail. Congratulations. I hope you use my link. True, that pure red meat audience. Yeah. Let me go down here. For sure. But I'm saying if you go on a college campus, 9 times out of 10, you're asking professors. If you think 18 and 21 is too young to drink, then other things should follow, for sure. Okay, here's another one. People need to do their due diligence. A lot of FUBU scammers like Jay Morrison and Myron Golden. So Myron Golden, what is his scam? Because he's coaching? Because he's coaching coaches? Again, I'd love to have a full conversation to dialogue about this. If a man says, I'm going to charge you $250,000 for you to be coached by my team, I'm going to run your ads, I'm going to make you a lot of money, and you're going to make your money back in like a couple of days, do this strategy, is it a scam? You know? Now, Jay Morrison, he told you 8%. You gave him $500 and you got 8% back. Where's the scam? I'm just being honest. Just want to slide that to you. I'm going to slide out of there. Let me slide out of there. Thank you so much. Brainwashing why I had to leave the manosphere. Yeah, there's so many people in the manosphere who are married. They've been married for years. They've been married for 15 years. Some of the people that be talking the most smack are married. And you'd be sitting there and you're like, they're telling you something that's just not accurate. They're just not telling you something accurate. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Let me go down here. Yeah, it does. It emasculates him. I mean, that's just to be honest. But that is taught to you in sales. Always check a dude and be like, hey, are you the final decision maker? What does that do to that man? I make the decisions. Like, it just is what it is. Gaslighting, influencers, narcissism, red pill. Okay, right. Mm-hmm. All right. So what is something that we commonly talk about? Honey, I'm brainwashing y'all right now. Hell yeah. That's if you haven't watched my previous videos, let's say you're new to my channel. Let me tell you right now, I am brainwashing you. Oh, for sure. If you're watching hours and hours of me, what has people when you've come to my boat parties, people are like, I got my certification because of you. I started investing in stocks for my grandchildren because of you. I'm brainwashing you to know that there's other opportunities to make money, other ways to invest, other ways to do things. Yes, I'm brainwashing every time I come out here. You think I'm brainwashing for free? Of course not. Of course not. So the question I asked y'all, yeah, narcissism. The question is, what is a common thing we hear about on relationship, YouTube, and internet? It's love bombing. Love bombing is a part of dark psychology. Love bombing. If you've ever heard of it, put it in the chat. Love bombing. Love bombing. It's where a person comes to you in the beginning very quickly. Yeah, girl, you're the best. I love you. Compliments. I'm all over you. Love bombing. And then they slowly go back to their normal routine of however they were going to treat you like shit in the first place, because that's a form of brainwashing. That's a form of dark psychology, right? A lot of these persons, oh man, Brandy done came in late. Brandy done missed it all, y'all. She done missed the whole show, y'all. No. Tell Brandy what's up in the chat, y'all. Okay, so again, love bombing is a form of brainwashing. Okay, let's just go there. Charlie Kirk talking to you and telling you you're stupid. Moronic black women, sub-superior pilots when we're in a pilot shortage, and 80% of our pilots are actually come from veterans, Air Force. That's how it's been for years, right? Okay. What he's doing is love bombing you. He'll tell you, Jesus is your Lord and Savior, and I hope you get to know the Lord. I hope you get married and you have kids. I do. Then a woman to come up and ask a question. Yeah, women need to be at home. Shut up. Right? People are missing that stage one of love bombing and brainwashing. Is I'm going to give you another one we can call it, and this is I hate to keep cussing today, but shit sandwich. It's where your manager has to give you compliments on the front end, then tell you how bad your work is in the middle, and then come back on the bottom and be like, but you can do better. I feel you can do it. They're doing that. It's called a shit sandwich in management. You know why they do it? Because they want you to not ask for a raise. They want you to not ask for a raise. They want you to think, oh, well, you do some of this stuff good, but you really do a lot of shitty work. Okay. And then another thing, that's why I tell you on this channel, we're always talking about document what you do at your job. Are you setting up manuals? Are you creating processes and SOPs? Are you doing all that at your job? You could do that for yourself. Okay. Just most people don't want to be responsible to themselves. That's all. That's all. So if I do something, I'll give you an example, the woo-woo. We talk about the woo-woo. 90% of when I go to these very expensive masterminds, it's all a mental conversation. They'll give you the techniques, the tactics, they'll do all that cool, hardcore. We'll do it on Saturday. But on Sunday and Friday, they're literally trying to get your mind right. We'll have people in there go, yeah, I made $1 million and I'm good right here. Even though all the data will show they will eventually end up closing their business because expenses will rise and the $1 million is not enough. Most of them will respond as, I'm doing better than everybody I know. I'm doing better than most people. Instead of saying, you seem to have the talent here to make $1 million. You could make double this, triple this. Well, that means I have to grow. That means I'd have to leave some friends behind. That means I'd have to leave some situations behind. I keep telling y'all the fastest way to brainwash yourself is to go to a conference and then now just completely interact with the 5 most productive people at that conference. Bigger pockets, another example of brainwashing. You'll talk to people. Do y'all remember the fire movement when people kept going on and on and on and on about the fire movement? Completely oblivious to the fact that majority of the people in the fire movement were making 100 to 180,000 a year. So it meant it was not for you. Like automatically, if you did the math, if you didn't make 100,000 to 180,000, it wasn't for you. The fire movement wasn't for you because you didn't have enough money to get out of debt fast enough. That was the whole point. When people are sitting there like, oh yeah, the fire movement, and they're making 40,000 a year, that you don't make enough. You didn't make enough. Let me show you this. Let's see if I can pull it up here. This is right now. This of course North Carolina GOP state senator. Let me show y'all this.
Like literally like buying Lockheed and voting for Lockheed. It's like, should we award this contract? Should we award this drone contract to Lockheed Martin? Hold on, not yet. That's what he's doing. They go, all right, this next bill is we're queuing up. This next bill is going to give $50 million in contracts awarding to drone manufacturers. We're thinking it might go to Lockheed Martin. Senators, enter your vote now. It's like, wait. Gonna buy some Lockheed Martin derivative options. Okay, go. This is where we're at in America, is you have senators that are on the floor of the Senate, and there's bills that are coming across the Senate floor where it's like, who should we award this military contract to? And it's like, should it go to Lockheed or should it go to Boeing? And he's like, literally like buying Lockheed and voting for Lockheed. It's like, should we award this contract? Should we award this?
I'm playing that multiple times because I want you to understand what's happening. You're literally getting a snippet into why these people go into Congress. They're at the middle of the action. They're in the center of the action. This is why people are all up in the White House in DC. Man, you'll meet people who got a military years ago and they're in DC just trying to be in the mix of power. Okay? What's the best way to have power? It is, can you bring people... Let me not say that. Let me rephrase it. How do you have power? You bring people to you. You draw them into you. One of the coolest things about being charismatic or charming is it's easier for me. It's been easy my whole life. Even when I stuttered bad as a kid, even when I had bad feet and they had to put shoes on me. What you learn quickly about people is the average person, you look good, that's good enough for them. You sound good, good enough for them. They're not going to do a deep dive research. Most people have lost the art of critical research and critical thinking. Most people are running around the internet right now, as you see, talking bad about black business owners. And you go, what are you talking about? Then they continue to talk to you about some fast food place, some fish and chips place, some wings place that gave them a bad order of wings. And then you say, well, what? I thought you meant business owners as in construction, as in home healthcare, or as in transportation that most black businesses are in. They weren't even thinking about that because they're still surface level talking about a chicken shack. And the girl at the front desk at the Jamaican place wasn't nice to them. And that's their epitome of black business. Why? Because everything they've been taught to repeat and say on and on is black is bad, white is good. A little bit more dark psychology for you. When you're looking at Nebraska videos, Nebraska corn videos, that's what I'll say that way. They have done studies on what sells the most and who's watching it. And it overwhelmingly goes into negative stereotypes. You feel it. If you can't fill in the blanks of what I just said, good luck to you. I'm not going to go deeper into that. So if you've been brainwashed your whole life that you need a blonde, blue-eyed white girlfriend and she deserves the world. If you come across a blonde white woman and her parents don't like you, what are you going to do as a black man or a Latino man or an Asian man? You're going to double, triple cross, prove that you're the best. You're the best. You're different than all the others. Look how cool you are. Now, what are you going to do to the average black or Latino woman you come across? Not as good. You're going to consider them not as good. These are 101 basic training studies they've done for 50 years now. Okay? They've done it forever. So you see now when we have commercials on TV and there are mixed people on the commercial or racially ambiguous people, white people are upset. They're upset. They're like, you guys are ruining TV. I have to keep seeing you people. Because the average person doesn't see those people, right? We're brainwashing people into many horrible stereotypes. The jail system the numbers have been getting lower. There's more empty prisons. Black crime actually is at all-time lows. What's up at all-time highs? 50% increase of white women going to jail. Drug related, trafficking, drugs related. In LA alone, nowhere else, just LA, 90% of the murders were done by people who weren't even from America. 90%. What do you say? Well, Erica, LA is very diverse. I'm just telling you, 90% of the murders were done by people who are not black and not white. So this kind of rhetoric talk that people are telling you from, it sounds like a 1984 movie. It sounds like somebody from the Ronald Reagan staff wrote some of these talking points you guys are listening to. It's absolutely silly. And you know it is. 2 minutes of research defeats most of the conversation. Okay, let's just go here. And I see somebody's going back and forth in the chat and I'm not acknowledging it. Good luck. Get it out of your system today. This is our last video on it. I just, for real, love bombing used to be a term for sure. I just wanted to do this one to kind of wrap up this conversation we're having on outdated talking points and how all this time you guys are focusing on this. They're getting ready to pass a bill in Congress that you can't speak against or boycott Israel, or it can result in $1 million fine or 20 years in jail. Last time I checked, this is United States of America, not the United States of Israel. If you hadn't been paying attention, the day before Charlie Kirk was shot, he was on the phone for an hour with several Israeli people who are sponsors of Turning Point and going back and forth with them and fussing with them and not agreeing with what they wanted him to do, which was tone down the rhetoric of anti-Semitism on his page. And he said he wasn't going to do it. He said he's playing devil advocate. So I'm laughing at y'all who are sitting here saying, well, why are y'all being mean to Israel? Okay. All right. I'm just going to leave that there. I'm going to just leave it out there. Because again, y'all are not paying attention to what's really happening. And it's unfortunate. Let me see if I can play this. I had a clip I was trying to play, y'all. If I can get to it. Hold on a second. This will work. And this applies to everyday life. As Uncle would say, let me out of there. The Talking Point Mafia, 50,000 strong across YouTube. You already know. I'm just kind of step out of there. Just running around YouTube, spamming everybody's page with terrible old outdated. Yeah, you black women keep getting pregnant by the same 5 people, even though the average again, Kevin Samuels gave you a talking point from the age demographic is 15 to 25. Yes, 15 to 25, the average black man does not have any kids from 15 to 25. 70% of them do not. Correct. 25 to 35, though, a lot of y'all brothers have them. So knock it off. like when you start hearing some of this stuff, you're like, I think you're looking at the wrong data points. Here we go. Let's go here. Hopefully y'all can see this.
Think day to day. The poor tend to think week to week. The middle class tends to think month to month. The rich think year to year. The very rich think decade to decade and generation to generation. And the primary goal of the very poor is survival. The primary goal of the middle class is comfort. And the primary goal of the rich and the very rich is freedom, the intergenerational transfer of wealth, and they will do whatever it takes to experience an abundance of freedom. Wealth and transferring that wealth to succeeding generations is critical. The very poor think day to day. The poor tend to think week to week. The middle class tends to think month to month. The rich think year to year. The very rich think decade to decade and generation to generation. And the primary goal of the very poor and poor is survival. The primary goal of the middle class is comfort. And the primary goal of the rich and the very rich.
Okay. So I put a thing up on my Facebook page. I've been trolling a little bit this week anyway. And I keep telling people, they're like, yeah, 300,000 Black women lost their jobs. And I go, did you look back at 2023? 300,000 Black people lost their jobs that year too. We're always the canary in the coal mine. And so that's why I'm bringing on Dr. Dix later to talk about this. But the fact that you need to pivot, you've been needed to pivot. You've been needed to pivot. Okay. Because usually I tell people this, and I mean this. If you have a house from your grandma, your uncle, some land, keep it. Don't sell it, because you probably will not ever get back into owning any type of house or any type of land if you're not actively convinced. Actively convinced. Listen, how do I know this? Lots of data supports it, but also a lot of data, projection data. There's something I want to say. I'll be careful. But if you were to go ask AI and Gronk, that's on Twitter, would Charlie Kirk have won the presidency in maybe another 6 years? I bet you money it would have said yeah. I bet you money it would have said yeah. He was doing all the right talking points, like JD Vance. Good luck, y'all. Okay. I bring up the Black people because if you ask AI, where will Black people be? The answers scare you. I just want you to understand we're in an asset-based society since 1971. Majority of the problems you're seeing downtown is where Black people are being evicted. They don't own their house. They don't have any assets. They don't have insurance policies. They got insurance on that car to keep running around, but they don't have insurance on the house. Shaq just stepped in North Carolina, is going to bury 4 Black girls. I think their mom is white, their dad is Black, and they have 5 kids, and they left the 11-year-old in charge to watch all the other kids. House caught on fire. 4 kids died. They don't have insurance, and they don't have house insurance. So Shaq is going to step in and pay for their funerals, but who's going to pay for their house? Again, you're talking about a country that is fastly moving towards, in some regards, tokenization, advanced banking, and 55% of our country's population doesn't even have a bank. They're underbanked. They're running around with Chime cards and PayPal cards. The things that you are spending 100 hours watching do nothing to add value to your life. And by the time you figure it out, by the time you got over it, oh no, Erica, what happened? We've been telling you for years. I told you guys there was not going to be a housing crash if they tinker with the rates another time. Right now, people who are mortgage brokers, they're being inundated with calls to refinance, to pull out $300,000, to pull out here and there money out of their houses. So these houses that y'all thought, well, they got to come down, Erica. These houses that they bought for $85,000 and now they're $350,000, they're $400,000 houses because of inflation. The housing market may have spiked up in places like Austin, parts of Dallas, other parts of the country. They're taking the money out. So you can't sell the house for lower because we're taking the equity out of the house. And guess what they're going to do with that equity? They're going to go buy more stuff. They're going to go buy another house. They're going to buy more cars. Next year is going to be a boom-tastic year. And I don't think y'all understand what's about to happen because you're only planning for this weekend. You're only arguing about this weekend. You're only like, where the party at? Where the hoes at? Let me take this Ozempic, even though you're reading that is dangerous to your stomach. Right? Again, how does $300,000 women losing their jobs benefit bitter Black men? As a Black man, don't lose their job 15 minutes later. I'm just like, wait a minute. This is my argument for more African-American men need to be in trades. Because the only economic group in the country right now that's doing well and under attack right now is Latinos. Latinos' wealth went up 13% in the past 4 years. All from 600,000 Latinos just buying a house. This is why when you meet Black people and they try to convince you shouldn't own a house, the math shows you the home ownership's the only thing, and business ownership is pushing the Latinos through the roof. 33% of the homes Latinos bought last year were investment properties. They've already figured the monopoly game out, y'all. When you are a blue collar type man, there's no shortage of work for you. Just like when Bill came in on Lifting the Veil class and he talked about this particular skill will have you access to 14 different tech jobs. That's the type of skills you should be picking up right now in this economy. I'll talk more about that later. But Scam Likely, what was crazy is so many men like, yeah, look at these women losing their jobs. That's terrible. Because most of these women did what? Most of the people, these aunties, older aunties that went into government positions, got a house, probably getting to the age where they're getting ready to pay the house down and go into retirement. It's not a good look. Had my first kid at 33. All of us in the group did the same year. They got to extend the age range. Exactly. And studies show if you're a man in a group of 5, 4 of your friends get married, guess what? You get married next. I don't think y'all understand how strong peer pressure is. How brainwashing yourself to, well, Erica, y'all not watching the videos for the full context. Baby, I don't need to watch 100 hours of you to know when I hear a dog whistle, when I hear code words, when I hear inflammatory statements. I don't need that. We don't need that. We don't have to brainwash ourselves on knowing every word Charlie Kirk says, because I can tell you right now, if I ask those same people, I keep telling y'all, tell me 10 things Black people invented. All they can tell you about is Malcolm X and Martin Luther King from February they learned in school. Tell me about air conditioners and light bulbs and everything else that we've created. Tons of stuff. Tell me about 10 Black billionaires right now, because there are more than 10 in America now. I didn't know that guy. And guess what? They're in tech. Some of them in tech. But your association is Black people bad, Black people dangerous. Don't relax around the Blacks. Black fatigue. Again, these are white people who are economically poor. Who has the biggest problem with NLI money? It's poor white people. There's not a business owning white person I've talked to yet that's been like, yeah, we shouldn't pay those kids. They're in absolute danger of hurting themselves, just like Bryce Anderson, Texas A&M, knocked unconscious, face in the ground for 6 minutes till they got over there and flipped him over. And telling you that kid should not be paid. That is a poor white person. Because what are they at? They're at the game. They spent $32 for their ticket. And they stressing. How dare that Negro down there get some money for running and almost breaking his neck? I have a family full of sports people. They have feet, knee, and back injuries. They went in the military. Somebody, that wasn't on us. That was on you before you even got in here. Don't blame it on the military. You got tore up in the football. Right? My cousin had a position to go play in Canada and was like, it's too cold. My knee will give out. These people know that this is a toll on their bodies. The fastest way, I mean, you guys can go look up the Southern Saturday. The fastest way to piss a white man off, a white man with a penny is pissed off at a Black man with a nickel. For what? Y'all both poor. For what? Y'all both poor. You know what? That's sad, but I can believe it. I've told Black women you can improve your quality of Black men who will date you by dating white men because they will assume you're a better quality than mere association. I mean, I went to mixed churches, and you'd be surprised how the white people was acting like, oh, you like country music? Oh, you come from a cop family? Oh, wow. You'd be like, if you don't get away from me being weird and creepy. Juke Joint, I'm not going to argue with you again. I want you to understand. Everybody that's in the political space, they say they don't want to be president, but they do. Let's just go there. I still think about time I was helping out on payroll at my last job, and half the employees didn't even have a bank account. You're literally out here with people who don't even have a bank account, sitting out here with a chime card, arguing with you about why we shouldn't tax billionaires. You know what I mean? Like anytime I'm in my family gatherings and they're like, why'd you vote for Trump? I'm like, because the taxes. Well, how much everybody pays taxes? I'm like, they ain't paying $400,000 a year. They ain't paying $100,000 a year. They ain't paying $300,000 a year. When you could pay that, you come call me. Until then, hell yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Hell yeah, I'm voting Republican. I'm voting conservative. Hey, take them taxes down. People making over $250,000, please take them down. And if you saw how easy it was to get to 100, and I'm not being disrespectful, I've been on the phone with a lot of y'all. Oh, Eric, I was so tired. I got to 100,000, but I was tired. Okay, well, now we know how much work that is. Now we can take our brain power and take that money and do what with it? Something else. I told you I was a billings manager, assistant manager at an apartment complex, and a freaking working at Lowe's as assistant manager, and did over 120. I was working over there at freaking, I'm not gonna say the name of the place, but and working delivering pizzas at night, made over 120,000. But people will sit there and tell you, well, you know, it's so hard to get to 100. It's not that it's hard to get to 100. You're probably bored by the time you get there. If you don't have a focus and a vision and a purpose on what you're gonna do with the money, because you haven't brainwashed yourself into what to do with the money, you will be in a terrible cycle for the next 10 years. Parts of Dallas. Oh, yeah. A lot of them still want paper checks to cash at the liquor stores. Man, let me tell you. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to step out of there. I've been tapped in since 2016. You typically ahead of the curve. People don't notice it's not happening, and then it's there currently. Yeah, there's several things I've talked about, and 2 years later, I've been like, y'all, I talked about this. Been told you what was happening. There you go. I'm doing the work now, not when I'm ready to apply for a mortgage. So many people come apply for a mortgage and the person's like, oh, I don't have the score. And they just give up. That's most mortgage brokers I talk to. And I go, you do know your job is to educate them. It's to basically nurture a client for almost a year. Some of these people you will have to nurture for a year. I mean, again, I told y'all the story when I worked at a pizza place in Georgetown, Texas. A banker who had got fired started working there. And he taught all the pizza delivery guys, all, I think 15 of them, me included. Hey, you guys, just claim your tips for the next 2 years, or go back and claim and adjust your taxes. And you can buy a house with A, B, and C. Man, the whole place had new cars and new houses. And I just want y'all to understand, it just took one person invading the space and teaching them what they needed to know to adjust what they were doing. Yeah, you already know. Ozempic blowing out pancreases and gallbladders. I mean, I'm going to leave that alone. I heard about stable coins and companies being able to have their own money. This reminds me of wooden nickels, talking point, and sinners. Yeah, money is about to fundamentally change this country. And I'm telling y'all, if you don't own a house, just a piece of land, something, you're going to look up and be like, why is this so hard? Right? All the farmers, I got in an argument back with somebody back and forth about the farmers. Farmers knew in 2021 and 2022 they had needed to change. Some of their farms are not big enough to compete with the big boys. Some of them got when China bought out the Smithfield, it messed a lot of them up. They needed to do direct to consumer stuff, run ads, or get a collective together, maybe 5-6 farms, and they all just sell together. And a lot of them didn't want to do it. So now you see those videos of all the Arkansas farmers crying like, no, they told you in 21, 22 what to do. They teach you that in all the stability classes. I had to take one of those certs for a various reason for my own family. But yeah, if you look back in Europe, it was very much everybody had their own currency. I'm telling you, the white women on my timeline crying right now on Facebook. I'm like, are y'all serious right now? I'm talking about grown women with grown kids crying. I'm going to church for the first time because Charlie. I'm like, if you're going to church for the first time and you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s because of Charlie, your family failed. And you can get mad at me all you want it. Come on, man. I bought my grandpa's house and I'm about to use it for retirement and buy more. Man, there's a thing called cross collateralization. If you're in my inner circle, we talked about it. If you're in several other of my groups, we talked about it. If you got a house, you can use it as collateral for something else across the board, something else. My ex was a black HR executive, and he told me in 2010 that Fortune 500 companies are trying to get rid of HR and low administrative costs with the use of technology. You already know. They had a plan 10, 20 years out. Buying their kids super soakers, being racist. Yeah, he did create the super soakers. Chime, Cash App, all that mess. What's up? Okay, everybody, what's up? That's Denson Construction Services. Your girl, hey, Asia. Your girl about to be licensed and bonded to build, but we'll talk about it offline. Anyway, a lot of these young men have not been engaged to work that hard, but end up hustling. Yeah. Baby, people still cashing checks at the liquor store. I stayed off of Palm Springs in Austin, Texas, in a place called Jollyville, which is actually a historically black freed slave town. And so Austin's like, let's let them keep having this little street. We're going to let it call Jollyville. They're annexed, but they're going to let them keep the street. And black people still live over there in that neighborhood and the two and a couple apartments over there. And I kind of laugh because I'm like, y'all don't even realize this. Historically, your family's probably been over here. There was a store, and I went to go get gas all the time at that store because it's right by my apartment. And people would be lined up on Friday cashing checks with the Indians. And I'm not gonna lie, I had someone had paid me for some work one of our painting jobs, and the guys that painted for us, they needed that money. I'm talking about JG Wentworth right now. We're gonna come over there and bust you in your head right now. Give us that much money. So I was like, let me just go over here to the corner store real quick and cash this check, and we'll go on and we'll argue with it with my crew and Andrew when I get back to the office. I go in there, they're like, yes, $30 to cash a check from this homeowner. And I started laughing. I'm like, how much is it if I want to cash a smaller amount? Because this was a couple $1,000 check, y'all. That's how crazy this was. And so long story short, he tells me on average, we charge people $15. So on Fridays, when I kept seeing all those people and the store was busy from my apartment, I could see it. That was people cashing checks. $15 a pop. Of course, the Indian people don't care. They laughing all the way to the bank. Laughing all the way to the bank. That's a whole painting story. I mean, let me tell you something. Pay your contractors because they'll bust you upside the head. We're not gonna go there. If you need to ask me what's wrong with it, I'm gonna leave you alone. Most people don't wake up to their realtor life to about 30 years old. Then they realize how behind they are. By 30, you start people 10 years younger than you doing better than you. Exactly. Most people want what other people want. Most people want whatever other people want. And they don't know that, if your parents don't chart you on a course, and I know people like, Erica, don't put it on the parents. I have to. In all retrospects, if you look at this young man that's supposedly accused of this crime, allegedly, his parents put him in all white schools, all white high schools, in college on a full ride scholarship. And he magically came off the rails to do this stuff, right? There's a failure there. Because I went to college and I worked in a financial aid office, and majority of people coming there, their parents didn't pay, didn't have no money. They're in there scrounging like, how can I get another Pell Grant? Help me. And I'd be like, baby, you maxed out. You got to go get a job. You got to go walk across campus and go get a job at the Papa John's, the Pizza Hut, somewhere, because we ain't got no more money to give you. And so you have people basically at college living off student loans and then leave and say, I don't know why y'all want me to pay this back. Baby, you were living off this stuff. So people make a lot of heavy financial decisions from 18 to 25. So by the time they're 30, they're like, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck in this life forever. Or, they think of something creative. So, honey, babe, listen. I've told y'all about my friends that work at Section 8 and a lot of these government agencies. The emails they see that are sexual in nature, inappropriate, say titties on them, say cuss words on them, 69, all kind of stuff, hotmail.com. They're like, and the person comes in, they're like, you do know you could just get another email. Just put your name, Erica. I put my Erica Williams. They're like, oh, that's ridiculous. I'm like, no, that's actually the standard etiquette to put your name on the email. And at the end could be Yahoo, Gmail, whatever. And so you have these numbskulls out here, these losers call themselves Hot Possum Kitty at yahoo.com or something, and then looking at you like you're crazy. Naming their kid some Yahoo name and then be like, you didn't watch enough Charlie Kirk. No, I've watched plenty. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Listen, Chime is not a bank. Starbucks is legally the biggest bank in America. Why? Because y'all keep buying them gift cards and people don't use them. So they're sitting there collecting interest on that money. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I have a show with Dr. Dix later. Long the story short, thank y'all so much for all the people that super chatted today. Thank you, David Williams. Thank you, Ray Gunn. Thank you so much, Essence Buckingham. And thank you, Amika. I don't want to say exactly, but I just wanted to let y'all know, how do you brainwash people? Okay. How do you brainwash people? You brainwash people by encouraging them to watch hours and hours of content that may not be productive, right? So go here.
For the people who are like, that was his political opinion. Okay, pause. Let's run it back to grade school and discuss, what is a political opinion? A political opinion is something like, how high should taxes be? Should the states have more control than the federal government? Should we regulate guns more or less? See, these are political opinions. You can agree, disagree, debate them. That's politics. But when you step into saying things like Black women don't have the same cognitive ability as white people, or that Black people were better off in slavery and Jim Crow because they committed less crimes, that's not a political opinion. That is racism and white supremacy. When you claim that the 1 in 5 women who report SA are liars, that's not a political opinion. That is misogyny. When you argue that even a 10-year-old child who is SA'd should be forced to carry that pregnancy to term, that is not a political opinion. That is violence and asinine, honestly. And when you say that we should bring back live, televised executions for children as young as 12 to watch, that is not a political opinion. That's apparently a self-fulfilling prophecy. And let me be clear, violence is never the answer, and I do not stand for it. But we also can't ignore the fact that for years, this person promoted violence and hate towards others on a huge platform. We need to stop pretending like every belief falls under the umbrella of political opinion. Politics is about governance. Dehumanizing people, encouraging violence, that is not politics. That is extremism. And clearly we can see that when we normalize it, the more dangerous it becomes for everyone. All right, thank you. Class is dismissed.
Okay, yeah, that's if you're on my Facebook page this week, you've seen I've been very saucy, but I just wanted to close out with that. Asia, you think so, but these people ain't learned a thing, not even in grade school. I will have a show later today on this. Hopefully Asia, we're going to see Asia in a couple days or end of the month at an event. We'll see how that goes, but again, I want y'all to understand, you don't need to watch hours and hours of somebody saying offensive things to you to have a better context of the story. The same people putting Charlie Kirk in the same category as Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X is crazy to me, because you could just watch the level of language, dictation, and conversation. It's not even night or day. It's not even close, right? And I really want people to stop jumping off the side of the buildings this week. So let them have their moment. Let them cry. Let them say, we're going to fight everybody. It's going to be war. And then they learn it's not a Black person. So now they're like, we need to pray for that young man. All that stuff is, let these people get this out their system. You need to be careful. Watch what you do. But I encourage you this week, spend 100 hours watching some educational stuff. Learn something this week. Spare yourself the silliness. Don't go back and forth with people. There's several people like, I watched all this stuff, Eric. It wasn't racist. Again, let them people talk. Just let the conversation die. As soon as they say that, because I've had 2 or 3 people, I've sent them countless, like one dude put together 20,000 footnotes of Charlie being racist. One dude put up like 100 in a video. I don't need to do it. I don't need it. I don't need to watch it, and I don't need to send it to you to fight the argument. There are several white people this past week. I will no longer be talking to them. When we see each other at church, I'm going to say, peace be with you, brother. Peace be upon you. And I'm going to keep it moving. There's a couple of creators who walked out of their churches this Sunday because the pastor didn't mention Charlie Kirk. And I just want y'all to understand, that's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Okay? Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Woo! I'm gonna kind of wrap it up here. But thank you for all the comments. I really do. I live in Naperville. You'd be surprised the number of children whose parents are engineers, medical professionals whose kids couldn't finish community college. Yeah, I can't read. Kid can barely comprehend. Yeah, it's really crazy. So anyway, all right, you guys, this is your girl Erica, Classic Climb Blog. It's my last video talking on it. If you bring it up any other times, or you come on this channel and you're not usually on this channel, we're probably gonna block you tonight. I had to convince Dr. Dix to even come on because he's like, we should wait till after people calm down. No, bump them people. We'll just block you tonight. You start talking about Charlie Kirk, we'll just block you. So guys, have a great night. Yeah, see you later. You've probably been seeing these commercials for Middleman to Millions course. What is Middleman to Millions? We're teaching so many people how to have service businesses. The upcoming year, one of the fastest growing businesses you will see are service businesses and digital businesses. Why is that? Because so many things need repairs, need maintenance, and guess what? We have a shortage of men and also women who can do things. Listen, I'm not the best with a hammer, but I know I can gather a crew of people to get things done. And that's what I've done with 2 of my service businesses. And that's what I'll be teaching if you check us out in the Middleman to Millions course. And look forward to us on the road with Digital Liberty Tour 2024. It's Girl Williams.